no one expected, no one predicted that a Jungkook, the golden magne of BTS, who has been hailed as the hardest-working idol, actually took the most unexpected decision after completing his mandatory military service. In South Korea's highly competitive entertainment scene, where even a day off the screen can mean losing the public's attention, Jungkook's decision to rest at home rather than say hello to ARMY on a comeback project sounds like a big deal, even by entertainment industry standards. But in fact, this is exactly what happened. Jungkook chose silence, choose to go home, and choose a home. His return, which has been eagerly awaited with a bang, did not end like the expectations of fans who hoped that there would be a grand stage, a surprise concert, or at least a live stream full of tears and new hopes. No, the opposite is true. Jungkook returned home, entering the magnificent gate of his private palace in the Itaewon area without a word to the public. The waiting media cameras captured only his back turned away and his faint smile from behind his sunglasses. No press conference, no welcome from the agency, no typical BTS crowd. This silence is actually the loudest sound that echoes throughout Korea and even the world. A few days later, one of the major Korean media ran an exclusive article leaked from an insider of HYB's agency. The article cited one sentence that made the public freeze. Jungkook just wants to go home and rest, not work. He said, enough. That one last word went viral, enough. A simple but heavy word, like the weight of many years that he has been carrying without a break. Jungkook is a rare idol. From trainee to world superstar, his life seems to never have a break. Teenage time, youth, even time for himself were all sacrificed for the stage, for the music, and for the fans. But now, after 2 years in the silence of the military barracks, Jungkook returns home in the same way, in silence, but full of meaning. The ARMY was initially stunned. Many were outraged. Many were disappointed, but more and more than crying, having found out the true reason. In a personal statement shared by his close friend to the media, Jungkook said, "I have given my all to the outside world for too long. This time, I want to give that time to myself and to my family. I want to know what it's like to live without schedules, without cameras, without screaming. I want to feel quiet." This shocking statement immediately became a global trend. The fans who had thought that the military service would be a time of recharging Jungkook to return with renewed energy did not expect that it was precisely at that time that he realized how much he had lost something very important himself. The military period, which was supposed to be a form of devotion to the country, actually became the deepest contemplation space for the brightest idol. And the result of that contemplation was a big decision, choosing a home over a spotlight. Choose calm instead of glitter. Jungkook's figure behind the stage is known to be mysterious, secretive, and enigmatic. But his decision this time opened the most honest veil of who he really is. It's not an entertainment industry machine. He is not an entertainment robot as the public often assumes. It's human, and man needs rest. All this time I thought I was happy, but it turns out I'm just busy. Busy does not mean happy, said another excerpt from his confession that made netizens speechless. Social media is full of speculation. Some call this part of a massive promotional strategy that has not yet been revealed. Others accused HYB of failing to maintain the artist's psychological stability. There is even a wild conspiracy theory that Jungkook has been traumatized by the entertainment world and wants to retire quietly. But despite all the theories, one fact is indisputable. For the first time since his debut, Jungkook resolutely chose not to perform. And in that choice, instead, he appears more real, more honest, and more touching than ever. Interviews with Jungkook's seniors and military colleagues began to appear, giving a deeper picture of the young man's changes over the past 2 years. One of his friends said, "He never talks much, but once he speaks, you will be silent." There was sadness in his eyes, but there is also determination. He said that while everyone was waiting for him to return to work, he was waiting for himself to return home. When the public saw his luxurious mansion in Itaewon from a rogue media drone, it seemed a quiet and peaceful scene. No glamorous activities, no guest artists, only the sound of the wind, a neat spacious garden, and the occasional sound of laughter from the family who came to visit. It is said that it was his mother who first advised Jungkook not to rush back to work. Mom said, "I am not only a child of the nation, but also a child of this house. If my house doesn't know me anymore, then who am I?" This sentence made thousands of ARMY tears in the comments field of Jungkook's old uploads, which are now viral again. HYB briefly tried to arrange an emergency management meeting. There are plans for solo albums, international collaboration projects, and even global advertising offers from well-known brands. But Jungkook only briefly replied later, a word that implies hope, but also shows determination. He did not refuse forever, but he was in no hurry. Not anymore. Not after he realizes that the world can wait, but himself must no longer be abandoned. This decision even affected the atmosphere among other HYB artists. Some young trainees who were about to debut claimed to be inspired by Jungkook's steps. Jungkook is a legend, and if legends need a break, we also learn that being human is more important than being famous, a trainee revealed in an unofficial interview, surprisingly. A number of Korean psychologists called Jungkook's decision a revolutionary step that could change the mindset of the K-pop industry. All this time, the idol was forced to constantly work. They have no room to stop. Jungkook set an example that quitting is not a failure. It's healing, said Dr. Han Ji-woo, a mental health expert in Seoul. However, that does not mean that all parties are happy. Some HYB investors are starting to fret. Stocks were briefly down slightly when this news exploded. Sharp comments from shareholders began to break out in the financial media. But analysts agree, Jungkook is too big an asset to be valued numerically. His image and credibility are even stronger because of his determination. This is not a setback. It's reset. And that reset is sometimes necessary for bigger leaps, said a well-known analyst from Bloomberg, Korea. And behind all the controversy, rumors, and hoopla, there is one most touching fact that until now has not been widely known to the public. A few days after he returned home, Jungkook spent the first night in his house just hugging his mother while crying. No camera, no media. Only the child and the mother can finally have a heart-to-heart talk. After years separated by schedules, the world, and popularity. That night, according to family witnesses, Jungkook simply said, "Thank you for waiting for me, Mom." It was the quietest but most meaningful night in Jungkook's life. As the world awaits his comeback, he instead chooses to hug his mother, rest at home, and close himself off from the spotlight. In the world of K-pop, where existence is measured by the number of appearances, the number of views, or trending topics, decisions like this feel like a time bomb that explodes silently. And that's exactly what happened, not with an explosion of sounds, but with an explosion of emotions that hit all his loyal fans' army. The world's major media began to highlight Jungkook's surprising move. The New York Times even ran a special article titled, "The Idol Who Walked Away, Jungkook's Bold Choice to Rest." Forbes called Jungkook's decision a powerful reminder of personal boundaries in an industry obsessed with productivity. While the entertainment media in South Korea is full of opinions, from the supportive to the deplorable, but all agree on one thing: no South Korean artist has ever taken such a step. No one ever turned down a comeback after enlistment. And no one ever said, "I need to go home to myself." So honestly, the room where Jungkook stayed is now a symbol of silence and healing.